Today I'm going to talk about how I first started writing music. Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of Euphorik Speaks On. Today I want to talk about how I first started writing music, and it was back in the 1990s, you know, like you're talking about the early 1990s, where I decided to start writing music. And it was because I'd gotten into a style of music called, well, what everybody called back then, rave. It's what a lot of people now call EDM, especially in America. And when I first heard it, you know, I heard tunes from the likes of The Prodigy, SL2, 808 State, Bizarre Inc., all of those, you know, old school names. I really wanted to actually write that style of music, so I went about trying to find out how to actually do it without having to spend a whole load of money. And I found out that I could actually do that by buying a computer. I bought a computer called a Commodore Amiga, and it was an Amiga 500. And obviously I needed the software for that. So I went about trying to find out what software I needed for it, and it was software called a tracker sequencer. And I was like, well, what's that? You know, so I started researching that, and I found one that was called Protracker. I got that one on the cover of a magazine for the Amiga. It was either CU Amiga or Amiga format. I think it's more likely to be CU Amiga. And you know, once I got that installed, you know, well, you didn't install it back then, you got discs and you just put it into the disk drive. And once I started playing about with that, I was like, right, really into this, but the samples that I had weren't very good. It wasn't until I got another piece of software called OctaMED, which was kind of similar to Protracker but was way better at that time. I got a whole load of other samples. I went and bought some samples from these, you know, in the backs of these magazines you had what was called public domain. Whether they were public domain or not, I have no idea. And you know, bought these samples from there. I started writing music, and then I decided, you know, I'm kind of limited with these samples, so I decided to buy sample CDs. I got the extra large colour 2, which was just absolutely amazing. Or was it just the extra large colour? I can't remember, but you know, it was back in the 90s. And you know, I just went hard at it, writing breakbeat, bouncy techno and happy hardcore. And you know, I was doing that up until the year 2000, and in the year 2000 I bought my first PC, and I decided to get Med Sound Studio, yeah, which is basically the new version of OctaMED. Years later I moved on to FL Studio. So you know, these trackers, as we call them, they worked in a different way from sequencers today. They worked in doing, you know, hexadecimal, you know, numbers which scrolled up and down the screen. And it was kind of weird, you know, if you wanted the sample to play at a certain point, you had to put in the number. It was, you know, it was way different from what it is now. It's much simpler now, but you know, you made do with what you had if you didn't have the money. So there you have it. That's how I started off writing music. You know, cheap and cheerful. Didn't cost me much money. So there you go. You can start off with relatively low income, you know, relatively low savings. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. Catch you next week. Come back on Monday for the life log, and Wednesday for another Euphorik Speaks On. Thank you. Bye.